Welcome to the Jan Meeusen Garden Show on 99.7 and 1450 WHTC. It's your opportunity to learn more about your garden and your yard, about dealing with pests, and about taking care of the birds. You can be part of the show with your questions at 395-1450. That's 395-1450. And now, from DeBrine Seeds on Washington Avenue in Zeeland, here's the Master Gardener, Jan Meeusen.
And good morning, everyone. What a lovely day we have. A little blustery, but we might get sun, or we might just get this haze from the wildfires. I don't know, but everybody, and I mean everybody, has been out at DeBrine's either yesterday or today, or is thinking about going to DeBrine's. We are crazy busy there. Everybody's starting their garden. So if you've got any questions, give me a call. I am here, 616-395-1450, 616-395-1450 is the number to call. And I can tell you, we've had so much fun at DeBrine's. We've got all the plants that you want. We've got broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, kale. We've got tomatoes. We've got peppers. We've got some melons. We've got some squash. We've got everything. We got all the vegetables. We've got potatoes, red, white, and blue potatoes. Oh, and I think there's a purple one too. So we've got all of the potatoes. Well, some of them are sold out, but we've got enough of them there that you can find a potato that you like. We've also got onion sets. We don't have the sweet onion plants anymore. We just have the onion sets, but they're just fine. We have the small berry bushes like grapes and raspberries. We've got those, and blueberries. We have some beautiful, and I mean beautiful, hanging baskets at DeBrine's, and they're only $12.98, so that's a great deal. And what else do we have there? We've got all kinds of herb plants. So if you're thinking about doing an herb garden and you don't want to do it all by seed, we have got the plants. So hey, come on down. Everybody is going through the plants, so just kind of have some fun. And yes, Dan, did the tulip diggers go home? I saw people going to their cars when I came here.
Did you see all those cars? Oh my goodness. I came in about 9 and said, "Oh, I forgot about that tulip dig today."
At first I thought, "Oh, it's crop walk. They must be leaving somewhere here." And I thought, "No, it's a tulip dig, 'cause that's where they were."
Yep.
And everyone's got buckets, and I'm the what? Oh, it's tulips. Yes. So, yes, that is now done. Sorry. For the year, we won't have another tulip dig until next year. So, it's so sad. Tulip time, it's done. But there are still some tulips out there that still look nice, folks. So if you haven't gotten to Windmill Island, there's still a lot there that looks really pretty. Some of Tulip Lane is looking really nice yet also. So take a look around. Take some pictures. Take a picnic if you're going to Windmill Island. What a great place to go. It's an award-winning botanical garden. We have it in our backyard. We don't need to travel to Spokane, Washington to see that botanical garden. We have one here. So let's take advantage of it. Okay, so that's the end of my sermon of the day. But at DeBrine's, we also have the cemetery pails, the green cemetery pails. We've got plenty of them, folks. Don't worry about it. We've got plenty. We also have the flowers that go in the pails. So if you need both of those, we still have them. We'll have them through hopefully right before Memorial Day. And the upcoming attraction this week, sometime this week, I believe it is on Wednesday or Thursday, we should be getting, drum roll, sweet potatoes. Yes! We're all excited. Yes, hands up in the air. We're going to be shouting hallelujah. So sweet potatoes are coming in this week. So we'll have them for Memorial Day weekend. Hopefully we're getting enough. It seems everybody wants to plant sweet potatoes this year. If you want to make sure that you're going to get some, we sell them in bundles of 25 plants. And if you want to make sure, give me a call at work at 616-772-2316, and I'll take your name and number, and I'll give you a call when they come in. So you know exactly when they come in, so you don't have to keep calling me or keep coming in, although we love to have you keep coming in. That's always okay, too. So, yes, sweet potatoes, that's going to be coming in this weekend. They should be there through the weekend, we hope. Hopefully we have enough coming in. But that's always a fun time of year. That means it's like time where we really get the garden going and get everything in and watch it all grow. Or not grow, depending on whatever. So, yeah, we'll be talking about the problems that go on with all this stuff, too. But the big thing this morning seems to be ants. I haven't really experienced any ants by my house, except maybe in the cracks of my sidewalk. But Dan's sitting there nodding his head.
Well, that was another question I had for you, too, because, I upgraded this year. I've got my my weed whacker and my big blower thing, the leaf blower. But I blow those big ant hills away, but I never see ants. I only see hills.
Oh, well, you need to
you need to look
sit there
closer
and watch. Yes. Now, obviously, you're too busy to watch the ants,
well,
but I like to watch them on my deck as I'm sitting there watching them walk, do that little where they just kind of follow each other. Love that. Yes, we do have ant killers that you can spray around your house, spray on your yard, or we've got stuff that you can actually, as granules that you can put on your lawn if you're really having a problem with ants. I don't mind ants outside. I do not want them inside with me. So I always do the spray around the house with the home defense so they don't come in. I go around the doors and windows and any place I think they might come in, and around the foundation and up the foundation so they don't find a way into my house. I do not like any kind of bugs in my house. And the other day I have to go downstairs every morning to fill the bird feeder. Otherwise, the cat has a fit because he has nothing to watch during the day. And I'm walking through the family room with all of my bird feed that I need out there. And I look on the floor and go, now what did the cat put there? It was big. It was like 2 inches across. And it's black. And I'm thinking, well, maybe he threw up. And I look at it closer, and it's a great big old spider. Nice. And I'm like, no, you don't belong in the house with me at all. And I'm looking around, I'm barefoot, and I'm like, oh, good grief. I don't want to pick it up and throw it outside. So I found something, and I smashed the poor little thing. I feel bad about it. That's probably what brought the bad weather, is because I killed that great big old spider.
Bad karma.
Yes. I'm sorry. I just didn't want it in my house. I don't care. You could have been 3 feet over outside, and I would have said, oh, what a pretty little spider that is. But no, it had to be in my house, and I don't know how he got in. And I know they eat insects, and I know they're good, most of them, but I just didn't want that great big spider in my house.
You know, my number one enemy inside the house, the housefly. I'll be late. I'll be late for my wedding. I would be late for anything because I've got to find that housefly, and I've got to get rid of you now.
Yes, I hate those things.
I just can't stand it.
And then they seem to understand when you get up with evil intent,
right.
Because all of a sudden they just disappear. But if you got up without evil intent of thinking of killing them, they would still be around. But they can disappear in a heartbeat. And you sit there with your fly swatter and whatever you got, and you try to get them out of wherever they're hiding, and they're never going to come out. Now, you just got to sit there and just be very nonchalant with your fly swatter in hand. And, okay, so with that, we need to take a break. It's already 1:15. So with that, we will be back with the Garden Show right after these messages.
let's get back to the Jan Meeusen Garden Show. Call the Master Gardener from DeBrine Seeds in Zeeland now at 395-1450. Once again, here's Jan Meeusen.
And we are back. We were talking about insects before the break, but I'm going to remind you the phone lines are open. 616-395-1450, 616-395-1450. The lines are open. We're talking about insects. Not only ants, ants seem to be number one, and the number two one is ticks right now. Seems like all the ticks have woke up, and they're now all attached to your dog's legs. So we need to get out in the backyard, and we need to spray for ticks and fleas also, because they're going to be a bad one again this summer. We did not have enough of a time of killing time during the winter when it was cold enough, so we're going to pay for it in the summer with lots and lots of insects. So if you had fleas and ticks last year, you're going to have them again this year. So get out there and spray. We've got a wonderful spray that you can spray around your lawn, or you can put the bug clear on your lawn. I kind of like the spray. Home Defense has a spray that you can actually spray the whole backyard. Or there is just a spray that is just bifenthrin in it, which is an excellent insecticide. It is targeted at insects. It is not targeted at mammals at all. So we don't have to worry about your dog or cat or you being in the backyard after you have sprayed that. So let's get rid of those ugly things. Ticks are horrible. They carry quite a few different diseases, not only for your dog or cat, but also for you. So when you come in, if you are in a little wooded area or a little bit that your dog or cat always seems to come in with ticks, do the tick check when you come in. It can be a little dance move if you like, but do the tick check when you come in. It's kind of like in the winter we have to do the ice melt check between their toes. The ticks love to get between their toes, so do check there. And they look like just a little bump when they first attach. So easy to remove after they first attach. It is after 24 hours after they've attached. That's when we get the transfer of Lyme disease or ehrlichiosis or any one of the wonderful tick-borne diseases that they get. So let's be careful with the ticks out there. Even my niece, who brought her dog to the dog park, got a tick on the dog, and boy, if it wasn't one that had Lyme disease. So now she's got to treat her poor dog for Lyme disease. So there is a vaccination out there for Lyme disease. It's usually not in one of the regulatory ones. You might have to talk to your veterinarian about it, whether if your dog is one of those that gets ticks all the time, you might want to think about that. Or you might want to think about putting the heartworm control. It's got the flea and tick in it also. So they'll get on, but they will fall off because they will die once they start sucking blood. So that is always a good idea and a good option for your dog or cat. Again, talk to your veterinarian about it. See which one they recommend as the best treatment for your animal. I don't know your background of your animal, so I can't speak for every one of them. But we do need to get that under control. And then the next thing is parvo is out there right now. It is in the dog parks. It is everywhere. Parvo lives. It's a virus that lives in the soil. It doesn't take much. If your dogs are not fully vaccinated against parvo, they can get it. It is a nasty, nasty disease. And you usually don't even know they have it until they start vomiting and they have diarrhea. And what's happening is the virus is actually eating the lining of their stomach and intestine. And that's, a lot of times once we get to that point, they will die. So let us make sure if you're going to have puppies, they do get some immunity from their mother, but let's start them on their booster shots and make sure you include parvo. It is an option. It is not usually in their regular shots. Make sure you say you want parvo, and let's get them caught up with their parvo vaccine, especially if you plan on taking them to the dog park or anywhere there's other dogs. It just seems to spread like wildfire. It's a horrible disease. It's going to cost you a lot of money at your vet, and your vet's not going to like it either. It's not a fun one to have to treat. I remember when I was in Florida, when we went from like what we call cold temperatures in the winter, and you went to the hot temperatures in the summer, it really just, the parvo just exploded. So make sure your dog is caught up to date on all of his vaccinations, including parvo. And if you've got a puppy, make sure that your puppy has had all of its parvo shots before we really expose them to like other backyards or whatever. I know people are never gonna listen to all that and go, but my dog won't get parvo. Yeah, it's usually when that happens. We don't say don't do this for a reason. There is a reason behind it. I always used to get down in Florida. There's a lot of people that have monkeys and all of these other pets that you really shouldn't have as pets, because they really aren't pets. But there's so many things that you need to remember. If you have a primate, you really can't, bring them to the grocery store with you or whatever, packed in your purse. You get those little tiny ones. They get exposed to other people's, other people, and they can get a virus so quickly and die. And so, you want to be a good steward for your animal. So let's keep them as healthy as they possibly can be. I know poor Butterball at work has allergies. So when I take my allergy pill during the day, when I have to take it, then Butterball gets his too. And he's a good little guy for taking his pills. But, if they need it, they need it. And now speaking about medication for dogs, I'm just going to segue that right into Puerto Rico. So I want you to remember to bring in, if you didn't give all of your dog or cat or ferrets all of their medication and you've got leftover medication, I want that. I want to send it down to Island Dog and Save a Gato down in Puerto Rico. They're doing such wonderful things. They're, pulling all the dogs off the streets and off the beaches, and all the cats. They're spaying and neutering them. They're finding new homes for them. And it's so nice when we can send down medications that they can use, and then they don't have to spend their own money on that. So if you've got any sort of medications that you didn't use up, all of the medication, I will gladly take it. In even human medication, it's usually kind of segues into both. Usually dogs and cats can use up to 90% of human meds. So that works also. But also Espalac and KMR, as well as feeding bottles, are always needed. Bandage material is always needed. So if you could bring that down to me at DeBrine's, you just give it to one of the guys or set it on the counter and tell them it's for Puerto Rico. I will make sure that it does get there. I send out boxes all the time. They're always so thrilled to get our stuff. One of John Vandenbosch Company gave me a case of shampoo, and I was like, I don't know if they really need shampoo, but okay, fine. I sent it down, and she sent me this note. Katie, the head of it, sent me this note going, "It's so nice, that shampoo that you sent, all the dogs and cats that stay in the kennels there until they're adopted, they get a bath once a week." And she goes, "Our kennels now smell so nice because the animals smell so nice from that nice shampoo that you sent." And now, see, that was something I never would have thought of sending otherwise. But
see, you send these boxes all the time, but you couldn't send boxes without donations. So you obviously got folks behind this effort.
West Michigan has been so generous with their stuff. It's just wonderful. Like spring cleaning brings out a lot of stuff, Right. I don't need this anymore or this. And Jan said she'd take that. Well, that's what we're going to do. We're just going to bring it over to Jan and she can take care of it, because you can't flush that stuff down the toilet, folks, and you can't put it in the garbage. So it needs to go somewhere. You can't bring it back to the doctor and say, hey, I didn't use this, give it to some other dog. They can't take that. But I will. I am not that fussy. I will take it. So just saying, if you get some stuff, you see some stuff, and honestly, sometimes it's so sad. It's because some animal has died, but I will make it good. Your animal will live on with some other animal down in Puerto Rico. So
can I share a funny story about Ken?
Yes. Okay.
Well, we bought a kind of cat food that our cat did not like. Our cat only likes the pate, doesn't like the shredded.
Oh, yeah, yes.
And okay, what do we do with all this? Let's just bring it in. Let's let Jan have it for Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
Ken said, so what, your cat die?
No.
Sorry, Ken, if you're listening. Sorry. No, he just doesn't like this particular blend.
Well, they get used to either shreds or pate or whatever, and don't change them. They don't like that. Dogs will thrive on the same thing every day. They don't care. Cats really need a variety, but if they like a pate, they don't like to go to a chunky thing. So, yeah, I understand that. And we get a lot of that. But, yeah, Ken's first thought is your cat died. Okay. But that's being said, we are going to be talking about gardens right now. Everyone is planting their garden. I bet if you drive around Holland and Zeeland area, you'll see 99% of the houses are outside planting a garden right now. If they aren't at DeBrine's, they're out there because they are buying all kinds of stuff for the garden. And I will tell you, the problem solver of the week this week is row labels. You put stuff in, and I always go, I'll remember I put the radishes there, and the beets went here, and the carrots are here, and I've got lettuce here. I'll always remember it, and I'll remember what kind I planted from year to year. A, I don't remember what kind I planted from year to year, and B, I never remember where I put anything. Oh, and it's always a surprise. Oh, I've got beans over there. I didn't remember I put them over there. Row labels. Ken's got little plastic labels that you can write on with a Sharpie or whatever and put it. They're 10 cents. So, if you got 10 rows of vegetables or whatever, that's $1 worth of plant labels, row labels. That is well worth it because when they first come up, most things look pretty much alike. There aren't too many things that are really different. So, when they first come up, you're going to be scratching your head going, what happened there? What did I put? So row labels, invaluable. And you can get the fancy metal ones. They look really pretty. These are just little white plastic ones. You can put them down. They'll last through the rain or snow, whatever we are going to get right now. They will last. So solves a multitude of problems. So, yes, the plant labels, the row labels are what you need to get. And, okay, as he's telling me, it's time for me to be quiet and to let you listen to the wonderful CBS News. So I will just say that we will be back with a garden show after these messages and the news.
Let's get back to the Jan Meeusen Garden Show. Call the Master Gardener from DeBrine Seeds in Zeeland now at 395-1450. Once again, here's Jan Meeusen.
And we are back. Phone lines are open. 616-395-1450. 616-395-1450. Arlo's got to learn the call, folks. Call in so she can learn the phones here. Otherwise, her training is for naught here this morning. So give us a call, 616-395-1450. All those people that did the tulip dig this morning, they brought home all these tulips. I don't know how far along they were on their way to all of the leaves turning yellow. But what you can do is if you've got a place, you know exactly where you want to put them, you can dig the holes and just stick the tulips right in there in with the foliage right on it, and just let it die back right there. You might want to fertilize it a little bit, and then remember to fertilize it once all the foliage dies back. You can cut it off, and then remember to fertilize that area in the fall with some bulb food, and you're all set to go. Or you can just lay them out, let them dry out, let all the energy go back down to that bulb. Once that does and all of the leaves are brown, you can cut them off and then store the bulbs. Get the dirt off them. Don't wash them. Just brush the dirt off. And then store them in a cool, dry place for the summer. And in the fall, you can plant them. So, again, that's the same thing that you can do in your own lawn. You can wait until they died back. Probably it would be best if it's in your own lawn. And then you can dig them up if you don't like where they were this year and you want to train them, put them somewhere else. That is an idea for them, too. So, Jan, I have a phone call. So, good morning, caller. You're on the Garden Hour.
Good morning. I was thinking and thinking. I knew I had a question for you, and I'm so glad I remembered. Give your person there some practice, and excuse me. And I really am anxious for the answer. Couldn't find it. Googled and Googled. My daughter-in-law transplanted some peonies from my garden to hers.
Okay.
Just a couple of blocks away, so same area. And they're very old peonies, came from my grandma, and they've come up beautifully for her this year. She transplanted them last year. Their leaves are dark green, but on every leaf are these tiny, tiny white pinpricks. Not like the thrips that I looked at online, just tiny white, very white on those dark green leaves. Any idea what that could be?
And they don't look like thrips. I mean, that was the first thing going through my mind was, it's got thrips.
And when I saw that online, I thought, so I looked at all the pictures. They're exact, if you took a straight pin and touched those leaves, it's a perfect round, and there's probably on each leaf about a dozen.
Okay, so now you're describing flea beetles leave what looks like gunshot, like holes in the leaves.
No holes, just white.
Just
beautiful
white. Oh,
white
okay.
Color.
So then that's out, but it's got to be some little insect that's out there.
Could it possibly still be thrips, you think? Because I know you went right to that, too.
I went right to thrips, yes, and I'm thinking it might be thrips, although they usually don't leave pinpricks of things. But it's something that, and it's turning it white. So you didn't spray anything around those peonies, did you? Or the neighbors spray?
No.
Okay,
no.
Because there is a weed killer
Megan does have a rose garden.
Okay,
and thrips pretty notorious for being. I don't have any roses, but she has a rose garden.
Yeah, thrips are pretty notorious around roses. Yes.
What would you suggest she use as just in case it might be thrips?
Well, I don't want to use anything really harmful on it. So, does she have some spinosad?
How do you spell that, please?
S-P-I-N. Everyone asks me how to spell. S-P-I-N-O-S-A-D. Spinosad. And what that
thank you.
actually is a byproduct of the rum distilling companies, and they first discovered it down in Jamaica. But now they've got it everywhere. It's a pretty good all-purpose thing that should not. I know your peonies are a little delicate, and this will not hurt your peonies at all. And it should get thrips if that's what's happening.
Oh, thank you.
And it's either that
also, I
or.
didn't realize peonies were quite delicate too.
Does she have underground irrigation?
No, although she does have. She has hoses buried that she uses for her irrigation.
Okay, she doesn't water from above, or does she water from below?
No, she just has all those hoses she buries.
Yeah. Okay, because otherwise it could be, watering from above, and you're getting a little bit of drops on there, and that's why there's white little holes or white dots on it. And
yep, just the dots. They don't go through, but they're the brightest white on those green. They're really quite pretty, but but I know
It's
they're
not meant to be there, no. So I
No.
would spray it with spinosad, and I would make sure that you don't get any water on the leaves itself.
Okay, I'll tell Megan that too. I don't think she does, but you know, I
Just
don't know.
in case, yeah. Don't be watering
Water
from
on
above.
leaves, and they also have, although their 2 cats are inside all the time, they have neighborhood cats who wander their yard and are sort of they are their friends. And would this hurt the cats?
No, it will not.
Good.
It's only aimed at insect. So, yes.
So it won't hurt a mammal walking around.
No, nope.
Well, thank you. I've never heard of spinosad before, and I'll let Megan know. And thanks so much. Always enjoy your program.
Thank you very much. You have a good
Bye-bye.
weekend now. Yep, bye. Yes, that's always one for those hard-to-kill insects that you don't know what to do with, or you don't really want to spray anything really, really caustic on them. Spinosad is a pretty easy to go on, and it still works very well. They've got some new spinosads out there that are new and improved and have neem in them also. So, another thing you can look at. If I would do that with little heavier duty insect problems than just little white dots. So yeah, just start spraying with that. And we got your spring bulbs. Let's talk about birds. My goodness, the amount of orioles that are in the area and the amount of grape jelly and Oriole feeders that we have gone through in the past 2 weeks. They're by my house again. I'm hearing them singing. I didn't put a feeder up, but my neighbor did, so I'm just kind of watching them through that. It is so much fun to watch a bright orange and a large bright orange bird feeding at your feeders, and they are social little animals. They're always talking to each other. If you've got one, you've probably got 10 up in your trees. They nest further up in the trees, and that's where they're going to stay unless you entice them down with some grape jelly or oranges or something orange. I mean, you could put an orange beach ball out there, and they'll probably come to that. They're very attracted to the color orange, so that's usually a good way of getting them down to your yard. And once you get them down, if you've got a feeder for them with mealworms or grape jelly or whatever, they will come. And I do put out grape jelly, but most of my grape jelly goes to my cedar waxwings and my finches. They'll clean it out so quickly. In the summer, I can go through a ton of grape jelly, and they don't care. You can either use the grape jelly that we've got at DeBrine's. It doesn't have really any sugar in it. It's just grapes. Or you can get the cheapest, biggest bottle of grape jelly you can find at Costco or Meijer or whatever, and use that. That's usually a little less potent and usually cheaper. You can go through an awful lot of grape jelly and oranges. You can go through a lot of oranges. They're big birds. They eat a lot. It's not like hummingbirds that just come and take this little tiny sip out of your nectar feeder. These guys will empty your nectar feeder. So make sure that you're checking them often because they eat a lot. And it's not just one. But yeah, look up in the trees. The nests are up in the trees, and they're really kind of an interesting nest. They really weave almost looks like a basket up there. So it's kind of fun to watch, but they're usually further up in the trees. I had someone today, they go in the second story of their house with binoculars, and they can see the oriole nests, and they only have one brood a year, and they leave. They're sick of us about July, and they head back down south. So they're the first bird, one of the last birds to come up, and one of the first birds to leave. So there. We'll be back with this next segment of the WHTC Garden Show after these messages.
Let's get back to the Jan Meeusen Garden Show. Call the Master Gardener from DeBrine Seeds in Zeeland now at 395-1450. Once again, here's Jan Meeusen.
And here is Jan Meeusen one last time. We're here for a couple more minutes. I would gladly take your phone call. 616-395-1450. 616-395-1450 is the number to call, and Arlo will get some experience using the phones. I want to talk about everyone's putting in their tomato plants and pepper plants, and they're all remembering the blossom end rot they had last year. And they're remembering they had to add something. And what was that? And the thing is you need to add calcium. Now, if your soils are low in calcium, you can add it. Or what happens is when the tomatoes are, 4 feet tall, and they're just they're setting their fruit, and all of a sudden you're looking at it, and the bottom half is all rotten. That's the time, not the time really to be adding calcium, but it's the time to let's keep the water level at an even level around your tomatoes. Don't let the tomatoes get really wet and then really dry and then really wet and then really dry. This happens a lot of times in container gardening, where you're not always there. You can't get water from around because it's a container. So let's keep an even amount of water around there. I put a little bit of mulch around the top of my tomatoes. That keeps the water in there and it doesn't evaporate out too quickly, because I will water in the morning and then I don't get home until like in the late after. Well, let's say it in the evening. So, if it got too hot during the day and all the water evaporated, and then now the tomatoes are bone dry, and then you flood them with water the next day, and then they're soaking wet, and then it dries out and they're bone dry. That is the way that calcium cannot go up into the plant when that happens. So keep the soil at an even moisture level, mulch around the tomatoes if possible, or keep going out there and watering it. If it needs on hot, sunny days in August and it's 80 degrees and full sunshine, you're going to need to water, especially the container plants, more than once a day. So keep that in mind so you don't get that blossom end rot. Adding calcium now will ensure that the soil has got plenty of calcium in it. And we do have calcium nitrate at the store. You can put that around your tomatoes, peppers, your squash, pumpkins. They all get blossom end rot. So you can put that around them all. Or there is a tomato fertilizer that is meant for that called Tomato Tone, or the Miracle Grow also has one that's meant for tomatoes. They all have extra calcium in them, so to help prevent that blossom end rot from happening. Another way is eggshells, but this is not just taking your shells after you've baked something and throwing them out in the garden. That does not help one bit. What you need to do is you need to lay the shells on a cookie sheet or whatever and put them in the oven for 5 minutes or so in a very low oven, because you need to kill the salmonella and E. coli and other things that live on the shells. And then you have to crush the shells. If you have a mortar and pestle, you can sit there and pound away. You need to get them to a powder. We don't want the chunky. We want a powder. I do it in my, I have a spice grinder. I just put it in there and grind it up into, it looks like bone meal. It's just very fine and white. That you can put around your plants as a calcium that they'll be able to get up into the plant. They can't get it from an eggshell just as you see it right now. Yes, there's calcium in there, but it's going to have to be broken down, and it's going to take quite a while to break that down. So remember, you need to make it into a powder, basically, not, like salt, even finer than salt. Just get that down to a powder, and then you can put those eggshells around your plant. Eggshells, scattering the regular eggshells around your plants will not prevent slugs. They can go right through that. That doesn't bother them at all. So you're going to have to think of either a slug and snail killer, or think about going out there at night with a flashlight and picking off the slugs. That's always a fun thing. You never know how many slugs are out there until your hostas all of a sudden have full of holes, and that's slugs at night. And you go out there, and oh my gosh, there's a lot of them. Or you could put out the ever popular beer, where you put it in a saucer, put that saucer at level with the ground, so the slugs will go in it and drown. They like that smell of that yeasty smell of beer. You can use that near beer for this. This doesn't have to be one of your IPAs or one of your really expensive beers. Don't do that. The cheapest beer at Meyer will do. So, that can be your slug and snail bait beer. But you do have to change that every morning because there'll be slugs swimming around in your beer. So you got to get rid of that every day. But you'd be surprised how many you'll find. Or you can just put some wet kind of newspapers on top of your mulch. I've done this already too. And then the slugs during the day, they want to be down somewhere dark and moist, and they'll go down in those newspapers. You'd be surprised how many little slugs you'll get in those newspapers. It's just kind of disgusting how many slugs are really out there. So you can take care of those also. Now, there is a slug and snail deterrent. If it's got metaldehyde in it, it is very, very poisonous to dogs. And dogs love that stuff. Excuse me. So make sure it says pet friendly on the box or whatever you're getting. It needs to say pet friendly on it. You don't want your kids or grandkids or the neighbor's dog to get in that stuff. Very, very poisonous to humans. It doesn't work on insects. It's meant to work on mollusks, and unfortunately, it's got a smell that dogs seem to really like. It's kind of one of those things, if you want poison to work, you put it on something that they will eat. And this stuff, the dogs just love it. The snails and slugs, they're pretty, they will eat it too, but you wouldn't want to eat it, but they do. So you don't want a vet bill that's humongous. Make sure it says pet friendly on it. And we also don't want the grandkids getting at that too. And do read labels. There's that stuff is written on the label for a reason. So make sure you do read it. Read the precautions on there. Most things will tell you to wear gloves at the very least, or long sleeves and long pants when you apply it. Do follow that. It's not something that's written there just as a suggestion. It's written there so you do that. So read the labels and follow the directions on the label. Now, Dan is throwing signs at me here saying that I have to quit talking pretty quickly. So I'm going to remind you, I'll be back here Tuesday morning with the garden party at 8:45 or 8:35, around in there, with Dan Evans, the wonderful morning show host. Oh, yeah. Stop. And then I will also be back on Tuesday morning between 10 and 11 with the garden hour with Gary Stevens on Talk of the Town. And then I will be back here. This is the most important thing. I will be back here next Saturday at 11:05 for the garden show. So that is the most important thing out there. Go out there, have fun this week in your garden, get some stuff planted, get rid of those ants. We can help you at DeBrine's, have no fear. You can always give me a call there, 772-2316 with the 616 in front of it if you've got any questions. But don't do it this afternoon. I'm going to my niece's wedding. So today is out. So you had your chance, you blew it. But until next week, go green.
You've been listening to the Jan Meeusen Garden Show on 99.7, 1450 WHTC and WHTC.com. If you wish to hear this or other programs hosted by the Master Gardener from DeBrine Seeds in Zeeland, check out the podcast section of our website, WHTC.com. and listen or download for free. The Jan Meeusen Garden Show is a presentation of 99.7 and 1450 WHTC.